Hi everyone, good morning. Can you confirm that is my voice audible? So, are we live now? Okay. So, yes, we are live. So, guys, welcome to the newspaper analysis of 28th June. So, guys, in this session, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper along with the background as well as the potential way forwards into the relevant issues. Now, before starting, guys, the explainer PDF that I will be using to explain, you can download from the Telegram channel. The link has been given in the description box. Now, before starting, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper. Now, on the first page, guys, here we can see Supreme Court gives breather to Sena rebels. So, this article talks about the political crisis that is going in the state of Maharashtra. Fine, and now you don't need to go and read this particular thing. However, with respect to the defection, it is going to be an important angle, and for that, we'll see a separate article. Fine. Meer's quick trial came ahead of US Park meet. So, guys, this particular article we have also seen that basically Sajid Mir, okay, he has been a terrorist, okay, and his trial was concerned, okay. So, in this particular capacity, the things have been mentioned. However, for exam, nothing is important in this particular article. Fine. After that, moving on, news, alt news co-founder held for old Twitter post. Now, no need to go in this particular article in detail, but guys, understand this particular thing that often the journalist, they have been arrested because of the political purposes, which actually impacts the democracy. Fine, because the media happens to be the fourth pillar of a democracy. Then this particular article is actually a very important article and a very good article. It talks about the report of Niti Aayog, which talks about the gig economy, how it is growing. Directly you can use it in your answers. Then moving on, after that, the city section, okay, the regional news have been provided here. Fine, nothing is important with respect to the examination, advertisements, etc. have been given. So guys, regional section doesn't contains any important news. Okay, will directly be coming to the editorial section. Now into the editorial section, the first article talks about the freebies and the cost of fiscal profligacy. So with respect to the indiscriminate spending by the states for the sake of populism, what are the problems and the challenges we are going to discuss. Then guys, this article talks about the BJP is posing as a seeming unsurmountable challenge to the fragmented opposition. Okay, political article. Fine, no need to see here. Then after that, complicated, volatile, the descriptors of the Israel politics. Okay, so basically the national elections are due in the Israel this particular year, and we have to see whether the stable political government will be formed or not. So it is talking about the internal politics of the Israel, that who are the contenders, what is the power politics at play, okay, and all those factors. However, you don't need to see here because of two reasons. Number one, it is all speculation. When the elections will be conducted, what is the final scenario, we don't know as of now. Secondly, such articles containing two internal politics of one particular country does not have that much importance for our exam. Then moving on, green as always. So basically it talks about the lawn tennis, Wimbledon, etc. Fine. Then guys, from higher to higher education, good article, will see it. Summits of the Prime Minister, will see this particular article. Okay. Now this article talks about the issues pertaining to the Kerala. Fine. The healthcare workers in the Kerala, they are why they are restive. So guys, understand this particular thing, that this state of play article, okay, the state of play article that comes here in the Hindu, fine, it talks about the state specific issues. Fine, if you are preparing for the state PCS exam, then you can read if it is talking about your state, otherwise not relevant. Then coming back to the text and the context section, Sajid Mir's conviction in Pakistan has been discussed. Here, history of the Sterlite copper plant in the Tamil Nadu. Fine, why guys, no need to see this particular article, because what was the history of copper plant, which day it got established, and all those kind of things, not very much relevant. However, Sterlite copper plant has become a moral issue. Sterlite copper plant has become a moral issue. There is an ethical angle that I have discussed few days back. This particular article came in news. So guys, I'll just request if anybody can write into the comment the day on which we took this particular article and the timestamp. It will be very much good. So if you want, you can refer to that particular. But in this article, nothing is important. Then when defection is a mere detour for an MLA, good article with respect to the polity, we'll see this particular article. And even the Maharashtra issue that is going on, this particular article becomes important. Then after that, this entire page is filled with the political news. Fine, the same continues onto the page number 11 also. Then guys, moving on, sicker in Rajasthan top schools grading index at the district level. Fine, you don't need to go too much into the detail, but guys, just one line data, one liner is there. The Ministry of Education has released the performance grading index for the districts, okay, for 2019. Okay, in this particular thing, the Rajasthan sicker has topped. Fine. However, apart from that, nothing is more there. Then guys, further moving on, in this particular direction, here we can see that the World Bank has approved a project for road safety in India. We'll see this thing. Then on the business page, center may raise small savings rate. Okay, so why it is important and why this particular thing is being done, we'll see this particular issue. Then guys, moving on, in this particular direction, after that, rupees test rupees outflows are there. Basically what is actually happening, I told you few days back also that now the USA's Federal Reserve, it has increased the interest rates. As it has increased the interest rates, the foreign portfolio investment that came in India in 2020, now they will go back to the USA because their interest rates has increased. So the outflow of the foreign currency, when it will be there, what will be happening, it will impact, it will weaken the rupee. Okay, it will weaken the rupee, and this particular thing has started. Okay, now moving on, GST panel may discuss states compensation. Okay, so the GST meet will happen. Okay, they will be going to discuss this particular thing. When it will happen, if something important will come, we'll see it. Till then, no need to go there. Then the corporate news, okay, etc. have been mentioned. After that guys, moving on, we have the world page. On the world page, again, the Ukraine Russia crisis is going on. The response of the West towards that particular thing is being discussed. Fine. Then we have the sports page. So guys, this is about the overview of this particular today's newspaper. And now let's take all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. And guys, deliberately, what is the reason of taking this newspaper overview? It is just to teach you an art as how to identify the relevant articles even at your own if you want. Okay, now taking up the articles. So guys, as we do, we'll be starting the class with the GS quote that is going to be relevant in one of your GS papers. So today I am going to take a quote by the Saint Augustine, which is highly relevant for our GS paper number 4, ethics. Saint Augustine had provided that the right is right even if no one is doing it, and wrong is wrong even if everyone is doing it. So basically the majority approval doesn't makes wrong as right or right as wrong. Fine, wrong is going to be wrong and right is going to be right, irrespective whether the people like it or not. So guys, this particular dimension can be very much importantly be used into the determinants of basically it can be used in the essence of ethics, okay, or the determinants of ethics, even you can use this particular thing. Now moving on to the first article. Now guys, the first article, first of all, I'll tell little bit of the background about this article, and then I will be talking that what exactly has come in this news. So before going in this article, let's keep it side and discuss some of the basic background information. Guys, see, traditionally when we see the workforce has been divided in two parts. There is the formal workforce and then there is the informal workforce. Formal workforce is one where the people, the employee and the employer, they have written contracts, social security benefits are given, EPF given, fine, insurance given, healthcare benefits are given, etc. So let's say tomorrow you clear the exam, you became an IAS officer, fine, you will be on a formal employment. There will be the written terms and conditions with the employer. Then there is an informal employment. Informal employment is one where the employer and the employee, they don't have any written agreements. There is no social security benefits, okay, no retirement benefits, nothing is there. Now when I tell you the number, guys, around 90% of the workforce in India, it is employed into the informal sector. So normally the workforce was divided in informal, formal. Clear? There was also one more classification that is there, organized and unorganized. So organized and unorganized, simple definition is there. When a kind of an enterprise is employing more than 10 people, it becomes organized part. It becomes a part of organized sector. If less than 10 people are there, it becomes a part of unorganized. So this was the division that is there. Now what has happening, guys, in right now with the coming of the digital technologies, with the booming of the internet, we are seeing right now the platformization platformization of economy. Now, what is this platformization of economy? So guys, first of all, before understanding the platformization of economy, I'll explain you a broader concept, the concept of the gig economy, the concept of the gig economy. Now, what has happened guys, over the past few years, the gig economy or the freelancing economy has increased. What happens here? Here a person will be working for multiple people, and the work of employment, the employment will be onto the short term basis, per assignment basis. This is the gig employment. For example, I'll give you one example. Suppose I know video editing. Okay, I know video editing. There are 5-6 people, okay, who are YouTubers, and they want their video to get edited. They send their project to me, I edit their videos, and on per video I am charging some money. Okay, I am into a gig employment. Why it is a gig employment? Because at the same time I am working for so many of the people, and I am being paid on per assignment basis or a task basis. This is the gig employment. Is it clear? So guys, even what happens, fine, into the old Rajendra Nagar, if you come, fine, many of the institutions, they are asking some of the they're asking the people who have done 3-4 attempts into the UPSC to make some questions, answers, and such kind of thing. They are paying them on per assignment basis. This is the gig employment that is there. Now guys, today within the gig employment there is one more phenomena that is emerging, that is the platform employment. Fine, platform employment. Now, what is platform employment? In the platform employment, there will be a particular kind of a digital platform on which the employment will be generated, or through which, I'll rather use word, through which the employment will be given. I'll give you the example. For example, Uber, Swiggy. Fine, Uber, Swiggy, Urban Company. Now, these are the platform employment providers. Fine, you go to Uber, the Uber will be providing you employment. Now, this employment is a gig employment. Why? Because if you want to work for a day, you will. If you don't want, you might not work. Fine, one day you are working with Uber, other day you are working in Swiggy, third day you are working in Ola. Okay, so it is a gig employment, but it is being provided through a platform. Fine, so it is also becomes the part of the platform employment, which comes within the gig employment. Now what is happening into the present times, we are seeing the platformization of economy. What is this platformization of economy, guys? Today a large number of employment is being generated by the platforms such as Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato. Fine, Urban Company, many such other platforms are also there. So this platformization of economy has actually introduced a third element with respect to the division of workforce in India. So I told you traditionally the workforce was divided as the formal and informal labor. Now the new classification has come, such as the platform labor. It has also come. Now in this particular respect, guys, the Niti Aayog, now what this report is, I am coming now to this report. So recently the Niti Aayog had released its report, which talks about that the platform economy is going to be big. There will be large number of people who will be employed by these platforms. So certain data have been given. Now guys, it is excellent because directly you can use these points in your answers related to the GS paper number 3. So this article is going to be important. GS paper number 3, emerging trends in Indian economy. There directly this particular article can be used. Now what it says that the platform workers, the Niti Aayog's report onto the platform workers, the report has said that these workers can be called as independent contractors. Independent contractors means that they actually are not hired by one person, rather on contract basis they are working with so many people at one time. Fine, now they actually cannot access many aspects of the workplace protection and entitlements. Maternity leave will not be given to them, social security benefit will not be given, a regular wage will not be given to them. So many of the benefits they don't receive. It has been provided that basically today the platform workers, their number have increased. These are those workers who are based on online software application or the digital platforms. Is it clear or not? Then guys, further moving on, what is the numbers of the platform, the numbers of gig workers right now in the India? According to the Niti Aayog, it is said that right now 77 lakh gig workers are there in India as of 2021, and this 2020-2021, and this number is going to increase drastically in the coming years. It has been said that by 2029-2030, focus on this particular point, 2029-2030, the gig workers are expected to form 6.7% of the non-agricultural workforce. workforce, or if you talk about the proportion in terms of the total workforce, 4.1% of total livelihood or total workforce in India will be the gig workers. So their number is increasing, and within this, the platform economy is providing a lot of employment. Now guys, the Niti Aayog has also provided that when we talk about the platform employment, it has, as well as the gig employment, it has been provided that the 47% of work is in the medium skilled jobs. 47% work is in medium skilled jobs, 22% work is into the high skilled jobs. Okay, for example, you are a tutoring, teaching onto the white hat junior, you are teaching the coding there. Okay, now this is a high skilled job that is there, but at the same time you are being paid onto the basis of assignment or onto the basis of number of hours you have taken a class, such kind of a thing. So medium skilled jobs are there, 47%, 22% high skilled jobs are there, and 31% are the low skilled jobs. Now what are the low skilled jobs? Low skilled jobs could be such as delivering a parcel from one place to another place. So okay, these types of the divisions are there, but the Niti Aayog had said that this particular pattern is now changing. This pattern is now changing. Right now you see this particular thing that into the middle there is a large number. Now it has been said that rather than this, what is happening, the pattern is shifting, that there will be high skilled jobs and then there will be low skilled jobs. This middle sector, it is going to shrink, it is going to go down, it is declining. Fine. Then Niti Aayog has provided that as platform workers, gig workers, their numbers is going to increase. You can see around 4.1% workforce by 2030. We need to come out with some social protections for these people also. In this capacity, it has been said that they should be given the paid leave, occupational disease and accidental insurance should be given to them. Very much important to the riders of Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, etc. Then they are needed to be given the support during the irregularity of the work. Some minimum wage should be given to them. Then the pension plans should be prepared for these kind of workers. Okay, so they are expected to grow to 2.35 crore, and therefore we need to prepare for this. Moreover, one very excellent initiative has also been suggested. It has been said that we need to, the Niti Aayog had suggested that government should bring the Platform India initiative. So you know, we have the Startup India initiative, under which the startups are provided the support. So on this particular line, Platform India initiative should also be provided, which looks for the benefits for these people. So that is all guys about this, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now this particular article I have taken from the text and the context section, Hindu newspaper. Fine, this article is going to be important for GS paper number 2, constitutional issues. Okay, now what this particular article is talking about, okay, I will tell you that background and then we'll see the article which has come. So guys, understand this particular thing, that this article, it is talking about one phenomena, the phenomena of anti-defection. First of all, let's understand that what is this anti-defection, why the anti-defection is important, and what is happening right now. So basically guys, in the 1960s, Indian politics was facing a lot of instability. The Indian politics was called by the name of Ayaram Gayaram politics. Now what is this Ayaram Gayaram politics? So basically guys, actually in 1967, one of the legislator of Haryana, he changed his political party 3 times in less than the fortnight. Is it clear? So 3 times he changed the loyalty. Now this particular thing shows this particular thing, that the leaders, they are changing the political party line just for some kind of a petty benefits. Now this particular thing is unethical, it is immoral. Why it is unethical? Because guys, when a person is being chosen by the people, he is not just being chosen because of his face value, rather he is also chosen because of the party in which he belongs. Sometimes the people, for example, you might know this thing, that in 2014, any person standing from the BJP, people had voted him. Even they might not be knowing personal details about that, they might not be knowing the personal profile of that person very deeply, but they voted onto the lines of party. So a person wins because of the 2 factors, because of his personal credibility as well as because of the party. But when a person changes the party after getting elected, what happened? He is breaching the trust of the people. So therefore, the anti-defection law was brought by the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1985. It actually added one schedule into the Indian Constitution, 10th schedule. it added the 10th schedule into the Indian Constitution. Now this Anti-Defection Act of 1985, brought by 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, basically prohibited the defections. That defections should not happen. The people elected on one political party should not give away that political party's membership and should not join the other political party. Now what is covered into this particular anti-defection law? Basically, if the defection will happen, there will be the disqualification of that person that will be done. What is a defection and when that disqualification will come? There are the three grounds that have been mentioned. Number one, giving up the party membership. Suppose you got elected on A party, you gave that membership and you joined the B party, the person will be disqualified. Second is going against the party whip. Okay, so party whip is issued. Okay, some basically basically, for example, some important matters are there, whip is issued to the members that okay, you should do this, you should not do this. So that whip, if it is not followed, then that disqualification can be done under the anti-defection. Abstaining from voting. Okay, suppose a government is facing the no confidence motion, okay, and it has been asked to the members that you should vote for the government into this no confidence motion. Person doesn't vote, so the disqualification under the anti-defection law will be done. Guys, just to make matters simple, there are some other things are also there. For example, suppose that an independent person has joined a political party, that will also be a case of disqualification. A nominated person has joined the political party after the 6 months. Okay, till 6 months a nominated person can join a political party, no problem, but after 6 months if he is joining, then also he can be disqualified under the anti-defection law. These are the conditions. Now guys, at the same time, who is the deciding authority into the anti-defection? The presiding officer. In the case of the Lok Sabha, the speaker will be there. So the presiding officer of that particular house will be the deciding authority into the anti-defection. He will take the decision. Now guys, the anti-defection is going on, but guys, still it has not brought the fruitful impact onto the ground. What is happening? Actually, there is a loophole into the anti-defection law. Resignation as an MLA has not been a condition. Now, what is this particular thing? I'll tell you. So basically, guys, what happened last year in the Karnataka? What happened into the Karnataka? Okay, I'll not be using the political names just to keep the matter simple. X political party was there. X political party was in the majority. For majority, it needs certain number of MLAs. It needs a certain number of MLAs. Okay. Now what had happened? Then there is Y party. Now the Y party is not into the government. Now what happened? Certain of the MLAs of this particular party, they resigned from their post. Okay. They resigned from MLA's post. Now as they resigned, what happens? Basically, the number of minimum seats that this particular ex-political party needed, the number of seats went down, and now simply they don't have the majority. Their government will fall. Now these people, they have resigned, and after resigning they will join this Y political party. After resigning, okay, just a minute. Now, yes, after resigning, now they will join this Y political party. There will be the by-elections, they will win, and next time they will support this Y political party and it will form the government. So this clever invention has been found. What they are doing, they are not directly giving away the membership of the political party on which they are selected. Rather, they resign from their post. Now they join the other political party, and then the by-elections are conducted and the governments are being changed. So this is something that has happened. Now last year the same thing happened into the Karnataka. Okay. Now guys, understand this particular thing. The similar kind of thing might happen this year into the Maharashtra also. Is it clear? The crisis is going on. Now there are certain changes that we need to bring into the anti-defection law to deter this particular phenomena that is coming. Now guys, number one, some other information I would like to tell you, that first of all, when we talk about the presiding officer, I told you the speaker, for example, its decision originally was protected from the judicial review. It means that whatever decision he has given, the judiciary will not inquire in that particular thing. However, there is one important judgment that came, that is the Kyoto-Holohan judgment of 1992. Now in this Kyoto-Holohan judgment, the Supreme Court had provided that actually speaker will not be beyond the judicial review. Supreme Court has provided that speaker will act as a tribunal. What it means? It means that okay, we agree this thing that the speaker has a discretionary power. Whatever decision he wants to take in anti-defection, he can take that particular thing. But at the same time, if there is a malified interest that is there, if something fishy is going on, Supreme Court has a power that it can come and it can investigate. Okay, Supreme Court will not be staying aloof. Fine, this is provided into the Kyoto Holohan judgment. Okay, this is something that has happened. Now guys, why I'm telling you this particular judgment, it is that sometimes when the ruling party is being given benefit, the speaker doesn't takes action. Many cases have been there where the speaker doesn't acts onto the anti-defection for so many of the years, and when the speaker acts, he is acting on the behest of the ruling government. So this particular provision has also been there. Now guys, one very good thing actually happened into the case of the Karnataka. Just I gave you the example. Basically what happened, the Karnataka speaker took a decision when these when these members were resigning and they were changing the loyalty. He said that number one, they were disqualified, and secondly, it was also said that these members will not be able to contest elections for the next 6 years. Actually, the Supreme Court gave a judgment after this particular matter. The judgment was the judgment of Shrimant Bala Saheb Patel versus ORS versus Speaker of Karnataka Legislative Assembly. Just you can remember it as Shrimant Bala Saheb Patel judgment. Supreme Court said that okay, Speaker, you have done two things. You have disqualified the member. Okay, right, you can do that thing because you have power under the 10th schedule. Second, what you have done, you have also disallowed them to contest elections. Now this you cannot do. This is wrong. Now the article says that actually this was the good thing that had happened, and this thing should be added into the anti-defection law by bringing an amendment. Why? Because then only the deterrent will come into the legislators. Today what they do, I tell you that they had found a very clever way. Just what they are doing, they are resigning, then they join other political party. Okay, what they do, they first of all, number one, they resign, then they join other political party, then the by-elections are happened, they come back to the seat, they become ministers and all such kind of things. So if you will ban them from contesting the election for the next 6 years, what will happen? The motivation that they will become ministers, they will get some position, it will go away and the defections will come down. So therefore this is an important amendment that is to be done. Okay, so what is the suggestion is that such defections can only be stopped by extending the disqualification period from recontesting and appointment to chairmanship ministers for at least 6 years. So for this we need a constitution, we need actually an amendment act. So this is guys which have been explained. I hope that you have understood it. Okay, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now this particular article we have taken from the editorial section. It talks about the freebies and the cost of the fiscal profligacy. What is this meaning of the word profligacy? Guys, profligacy is the tendency of doing excessive expenditure. Okay, excessive expenditure, we call it as profligacy. Now first of all, where this particular article is going to be important? This article is going to be important in GS paper number 2, the topic of electoral democracy. The topic of electoral democracy, or the reforms needed into the electoral democracy. Now let's discuss, before going in this particular article, the background, so that you can make sense of this article, why it is being discussed. So the background or the basic, it goes like this, that today guys, the freebie culture, the populistic culture has been on rise. What is this freebie culture? The political parties during the election campaigning, they make very much irrational kind of promises. For example, if we came to the power, we'll give you the scooty, we'll give you the bike, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. Many irrational promises are being given, many free stuffs, free goods are being promised. These free goods don't have much of rational value, but just they are being given so that people become attracted towards them and people basically bring them to the power. So this is the freebie culture that is going on. Now it has been said that such kind of electoral promises of the freebies that are being given, it raised several questions. Question number one, is borrowing money, obviously when you are, let's say, giving some kind of a benefit, for example, farm loan waivers are many times promised. Now if you are farm loan waiver, if you are giving, you need to bring money, you need to borrow money for that particular thing. Now the borrowing for freebies, is this borrowing sustainable? Second question that comes here is that what is the best use possible use of the public money? Obviously a politician will not give money from his pocket, he is going to use the public money. Is it the best use of that money? Third, what is the opportunity cost? Now what is opportunity cost? Guys, see, very simple explanation. If you use some resource for one particular purpose, obviously that resource cannot be used for some other purpose. Okay, so there is an opportunity cost. For example, I'll give you one very basic example. So guys, right now I am conducting this free session onto the YouTube. Okay, because I'm conducting this particular session onto the YouTube, I might not take my regular classes right now. Is it clear or not? If right now I was not taking this particular session, I would be taking some other classes. Okay, I might be getting paid for this particular class. Okay, so right now I am using my time, fine, because of this particular session I am not able to do something else. Because I am not doing it, there is a cost associated with this particular factor. Okay, for example, if I would have been paid something here, now I might not get paid. This is a cost that is there. This is called as the concept of opportunity cost. So whenever you are using money for, let's say, farm loan waiver, obviously that particular money could have been used somewhere else, it could have given some additional benefit. So what is the opportunity cost? Then the next question is that should there be some checks on how much can be spent? Okay, how much is there, should there be a limit or not? All these issues are there. Now guys, let's assess them one by one. Number one, it has been said that actually government should use the money that the government is borrowing on creating physical and social infrastructure. For example, if you borrow the money, create roads with them, create bridges with them, create waterways, highways with them. Okay, why? Because it will enhance the transportation, it will employ a large number of people, that infrastructure sector will give a boost to industrialization and all these kind of things. Physical infrastructure, create schools, social infrastructure, sorry, create schools, create hospitals. Is it clear or not? They will actually be helping in making our demography, our young population healthy as well as educated. So social and physical infrastructure, if you will put the money in that, over the long period of time, it will generate so much of return that from the return you can pay the debt and you can further reinvest that particular money. This is ideal, that should happen. But guys, ideal is not many a times practically followed. Populist giveaways, they are more easy to follow. Now sometimes the states take too much of the loan, too much of the borrowings for that particular thing, and it might eventually implode. Okay, a financial crisis will come. Now guys, many of the senior bureaucrats have said that India, many of the Indian states particularly, might go the Sri Lankan way because of the economic burden that is being built up onto them because of excessive borrowings that they have done. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that first of all, when the states are there, okay, the states are actually put under a law, that is the FRBM Act. Now what are the FRBM Act? FRBM Act is the Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act. FRBM, again I'll repeat, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. According to the FRBM Act, the states have been given the targets that they have to keep their fiscal deficit in check. Okay, what is a deficit, guys? Very simple explanation I'm going to give you. Suppose you are getting 100 rupees in receipt, but you are spending, let's say, 110. So this 10 rupees is your deficit. So there are the different types of deficit. Fiscal deficit is there, revenue deficit is there. Okay, now so basically with respect to the deficit that could be there in a state, there is the conditions that have been put under the FRBM Act. Is it clear or not? Now actually guys, what the states are doing, states go and they use extra budgetary borrowings. I'll explain this particular thing. What the states do, states go for extra budgetary borrowings. Now what is this extra budgetary borrowing? Okay, let's understand this concept in a simple terms. Basically guys, suppose the state has raised 100 rupees via taxes and via different resources. Now in budget I'm talking about, in budget state says that okay, we are receiving 100 rupees but we are going to spend 110 rupees. Now where they are going to spend 110 rupees? Different sectors. Some money will go for wages and salaries, some money will go for health, some money will go for this. Now the state, let's say, is also planning a populistic measure, a freebie. State is planning that, okay, we also want to give the farm loan waiver. Okay, the farm loans we need to waive off. Now this particular thing, if they will provide that we need money, let's say 20,000 crore rupees for the farm loan waivers, this particular thing will be reflected in budget as a deficit. And when it will be reflected as a deficit, what will happen? You will be uncomfortable because the FRBM Act wants you to keep your deficit in a particular number. So in the budget, the money is not drawn for the freebies, the money is not drawn from the budget for the these populistic measures. Rather, what is happened? Extra budgetary borrowings are done. What is the extra budgetary borrowing? Basically the PSUs will be used. What will happen? The PSUs will raise money by using the government. Okay, basically onto the PSUs are going to raise money on the behalf of the government. Okay, and the PSUs will transfer that particular money to the government, and government will use this particular thing. Now when the extra budgetary borrowings are being done by using the PSUs, this particular thing is not reflected into the fiscal deficit of a state. Is it clear or not? And the states are raising the money from this particular thing. By this particular way, they are also saved from the FRBM Act. Is it clear or not? So this is the issue that is coming. Okay, now this is the way as they are raising the money. Now guys, okay, there is a question that sir, please explain again the FRBM stands for Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act, which has put conditions on the state that they have to keep their deficit in a sustainable number. Okay, now the FRBM puts the different percentage of the deficit that is to be maintained for the different states in every particular year. Okay, now coming back. So what the states are doing? States are not raising the money for the populistic measures during the budget. Rather, they use the extra budgetary borrowings through the PSUs. They borrow the money and they use for the farm loan waivers, the other kind of freebies. This is something that has happened. Now guys, there are certain suggestions that are given in this particular article. What are these suggestions? Number one, it has been provided that the FRBM Act at the level of center as well as the states needed to be amended. Is it clear? And it has been provided that even if the extra budgetary borrowings are being taken, these extra budgetary borrowings should also be counted in the deficit. Okay, next thing that has been provided is that, see, when a state has to borrow the money, it has to take the permission of a center. Okay, center should not give permission if the borrowing is being done for a freebie or such kind of things. Now obviously when the center will not give the permission, again the articles will come in the newspaper. They'll say that this is the basically the federalism is being violated, the center is not respecting the state, all these things will come. But the center needs to hold the moral ground. It should not give the permission even if it is a ruling party's state, even if it is the opposition party's state. Then the third that thing that has also been provided is that, see, in the constitution we have the provision of the financial emergency. President can declare a financial emergency in a state if the state is having too much of a debt, but this provision has actually not been used. So it has been said that this could be the brahmastra that could be used by the president if a state is going too much in excessive borrowing for giving the freebies, etc. So this is the way in which this freebie culture, which is wrong, needs to be controlled, needs to be handled. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, from higher to higher education. This particular article we are going to use in GS paper number 2, issues related to education. GS paper number 2, issues related to education. Okay. Now, let's discuss what this particular article talks about. So guys, what has happened basically in the budget of 2022-2023 that was announced, government has given a proposal of establishing the digital university. Now what is this digital university? Guys, this digital university aims to provide the quality higher education through online modes, through remote learning and all these kind of things. Now the role and the importance of the digital education has become important after the pandemic. We have understood that the digitization, the technology can play a big role in this particular direction. Now guys, it has been provided that under this provision of the digital economy, digital university, what will happen? The premier institutions, public universities, okay, the finest institutions of the countries, they will collaborate, and through the hub and spoke model, the education will be provided. Fine. For example, the universities, they form the hub and spoke. Okay, this is the hub and spoke model. What will happen? Basically, the premier universities of the country, okay, they will collaborate at one place, and through the different modes, okay, through the regional centers, through directly to the people on their computers, they will provide the education. Okay, now what, why this digital university is being proposed? The idea is to enhance the gross enrollment ratio of our country in the higher education. Gross enrollment ratio means that out of the total population of the people between the age of 18 to 23, how many are actually attending the college? Okay, so let's say if we have 100 people in the age of 18 to 23, if 50 people are attending the college, the gross enrollment ratio is 50%. So actually we want to increase our gross enrollment ratio to 50% in the next 15 years. Right now it is around 27%. So we need to increase it to 50%. Now guys, many people are not able to join the higher education. Why? Sometimes the college is not nearby, sometimes they have some other commitments, and sometimes, for example, the work commitments are such that people cannot go for college. So in such, this digital education is going to come handy. Now it has also been provided by this particular article that this is not the right way. Okay, we are now, the higher education is getting metamorphed in higher education, kiraigi education. Okay, now it has been provided that, see what has happened, into the name of digital education, many of the ed tech startups are coming, many of the private players are coming, and just they are providing that they are reaping on this digital education for the sake of their profit. It has been said that the education used to be a not for profit and not for profit idea, but today the profit in the education, particularly by the digital education, has become important consideration. It has been provided in this particular article, guys. See, basically, providing education in the non-formal mode is not new. Okay, earlier also into the non-formal way, the education has been provided to the people, particularly to the working candidate, to the women, etc. But guys, now what has happened, the technology is being said as the only solution for the education. This is not correct. It has been provided with that even in the pandemic, the entire education was shifted onto the technology, but there were the learning losses that were huge. Digital divide actually became a big hurdle in effective learning. So learning losses, a digital divide shows that this particular thing, that the technology can complement, can support the education, but technology cannot replace the offline learning, offline teaching, offline experience. Offline experience is unique in its own. Is it clear or not? Basically, it has been said that today when we see the higher education, it needs to keep the pace with the advancement in technology. The pedagogy needs to be effective, but online education, such kind of thing is not there. So it has been said that it is a blunder to regard technology mediated teaching learning as an alternative to face education. Technology can supplement but cannot substitute the physical teachers. Government need to understand this particular thing, though it is supporting the digital university and all such kind of initiatives. But guys, at the same time, investing in the physical infrastructure, physical teachers is even more important. Okay, so higher education is lot more than borrowing content and delivering. Okay, so what has happened today, guys, with the coming of this digitization, okay, everybody has become a teacher, but in the name of teaching, what is happening? The passive delivery of content, the translation of Hindi to English, English to Hindi, it is happening. Effective teaching is not this. Effective teaching is means establishing a connect with the students, okay, tuning with their mind. This is the teaching. Okay, so this is something that should be emphasized, guys. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this article again taken from the editorial. What article reads: Modi's two summits, UAE trumps G7. Now, this particular article will be reading with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, international relations. International relations. Now, let's see that what this particular article is all about. So, guys, first of all, I'll tell you this thing, that what has happened. The Prime Minister, he went to the Germany on the invitation by the G7 members to attend the G7 meet, but nothing concrete came in this particular G7 meet. What happened? These countries have called the India just to lecture India on certain things. For example, you should not buy the oil from Russia, you should not export, or you should export wheat. Fine, you should not buy oil, don't talk with that, don't talk with that. Such an unproductive thing was there in the G7. Now, as the Prime Minister attended the G7, on the return he had to also make a visit to the UAE. He has also made a visit to the UAE because of the president of the UAE who has recently got passed away. So this is the reason that he is visiting. But he says that actually the UAE, it is far more important than the engagement with the G7. UAE happens to be a very important and very constructive partner of India. Let's say that what this article talks about, it is actually talking about the India UAE relations. It says that first of all, when we see the foreign direct investment data, FDI data, UAE has invested far more money in the India than Germany and France combined. Clear. Then it has also said that actually the UAE has also signed recently the CEPA, that is the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. By the way, guys, this year up till now we have successfully signed two of the high profile bilateral agreements. One was the CEPA with UAE and the other was the ECTA with the Australia. So UAE had also signed the CEPA. The G7 countries have not yet concluded the CEPA with India. Then, guys, it says that this meet of the Prime Minister will be the fourth visit to the Abu Dhabi and the sixth summit with the Sheikh Mohammed in the last 7 years. So it shows that the engagements with the UAE are increasing. Now, both the countries, they have a lot of potential. It says that both the countries have successfully contained the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, because the COVID-19 pandemic got contained, the economic revival came, the trade between the UAE and India has also increased. There is the bilateral trade has grew by 68% in 2021-2022. Today, bilateral trade between the two countries is around 72.9, around $73 billion. Guys, because now as the trade is increasing, what has happened? Our deficit with the UAE has also increased to $16.8 billion. The deficit is also growing, which is little bit thing to worry. Now this is happening. Basically, guys, it says that actually the relations between the India and UAE are on multiple other fronts also. For example, see, today UAE wants to earn the petrodollars. Today UAE, if I tell you, today UAE wants to invest the money that it is earning from the petrols, oil, in another sectors, because UAE might run out of oil, crude oil in few years. So it wants to build its base in other sectors also. Fine. So UAE's sovereign investment can come in India. India is a lucrative market for petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, renewables, infrastructure, manufacturing, logistics, startup, renewable vehicles, all such kind of a thing. These industries are booming in India. So UAE can bring its petrodollars in India, can invest and can go for a and more deep-rooted economic relations can also be created. Moreover, guys, and I'll just tell you one more initiative. See, the UAE happens to be important because of one more factor also. UAE is a preferred destination of many of the people from South India who are going for work in other countries. A large number of Indian diaspora is there into the UAE. Large number of workers, particularly the blue collar workers, are also going to the UAE. They are helping them in their development. Now, guys, government has started a unique skilling project where the young Indian labor force is being trained in such a way as what the UAE wants. Okay, more can be done in this particular thing also. Then, guys, the UAE and India can also collaborate on reconstructing the war ravaged countries such as the Yemen, Syria, Somalia, Afghanistan, etc. Here on humanitarian ground also they can cooperate. Fine. At the same time, they can also cooperate on security, anti-terrorism, money laundering, fine, drug trade, fine. So on all these factors, India and UAE can be a meaningful partner. So this is, guys, all which have been provided in this particular article. Article simply says that the UAE trumps G7. Okay, UAE is an important partner. It's clear. So, guys, the points that have been given here directly, if a question comes onto the India UAE international relations, it is an important article. Directly you can use these points. Now moving to the next article. Okay, so this article is taken from the Hindu again. It talks about the recent World Bank's approval for a $250 million loan to boost India's road safety. This particular thing we are going to use in GS paper number 3, infrastructure, GS paper number 3, infrastructure, GS paper number 2, developmental initiatives. Okay, even in GS paper number 2, we see this particular thing that there are the multilateral institutions. So as World Bank had given an had given the grant, so how the multilateral institution are assisting in the developmental issues of India, this under this heading also this particular topic can be used. Now what has happened actually, Basically, guys, you know that road accidents are a very big problem in India. If I tell you the data, fine, every year nearly 1.5 lakh deaths happen in the road accidents. 1.5 lakh people are dying. More than 5 lakh road accidents happen in India. Now, for helping on this particular front, the India State Support Program for Road Safety has been approved by the World Bank, and under this particular program the World Bank is going to give has approved a loan of 250 million dollars. Now this particular 250 million dollars will be given to the 7 states. Now who are the 7 states? Though you don't need to remember them, but I'll tell you just for the sake of understanding. So 7 states are, just a minute, state of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal. In these 7 states, this much money will be invested. What will happen? They will basically be learning from the data that why the major number of accidents are happening, what are the reasons. They will improve the infrastructure. Basically, what will happen? They will also be establishing the single accident reporting number on which all the accidents could be reported. Fine, post crash events can be managed by this number. They will also be establishing the harmonized crash database system so that the accidents can be analyzed, so that it could be understood that what are the major reasons and future, so that the safer roads can be prepared. Now this particular project uh, also provides incentives to the state that if possible state can also leverage the private funding. Fine, the private players, for example the L&T is there. Okay, now the private funding can also be brought in a PPP model. Also the safer roads should be prepared. Clear? So just in a nutshell, guys, if I tell you in 2 lines what has happened, World Bank has approved a $250 million loan to enhance the road safety. In this, what will happen? Fine, the harmonized crash system database will be prepared, which will analyze the accidents. After that, for the accident reporting, there will be a single reporting number will be established. Moreover, the infrastructure will also be rectified. This is something that has happened. So that is all, guys, about it. I hope you understood it. Now we'll move to the next article. Now this article says that the center may raise small saving rates. Okay, now what is this article is all about? Fine, this article will see for the GS paper number 3 issues related to Indian economy. So if you are following the newspaper regularly, which you should do, because guys, I say this thing multiple number of times, if you want to understand current affairs, if you want to follow newspaper, do it every day, or either don't do it, because erratic way you is not going to help you. Now what we have discussed a few days back, I told you this particular thing, that the inflation has become really a very big problem, and in order to find the inflation, what has happened, the Reserve Bank of India has increased the repo rate. Already we have seen this thing. Now as the interest rates have been increased, fine, the money borrowing will become expensive and the inflation eventually might come under control. This is an idea. Now guys, fine, you have interest the rates on borrowing, you have interest the rates onto the borrowing. Today I want to take a loan, higher interest rate will be charged. But what about the people who have deposited their money into the bank accounts? Is it clear or not? Because of the high inflation is there, their value of real value of their money is getting eroded. Why? Because still low interest rates are there. Now guys, when you deposit the money, you are given an interest rate, but over the past few years, as the borrowing rates were low, the deposit rates were also very much less. FD was giving you an interest of around 5%, which was very much less. Apart from the FD, there are other small saving instruments also, which were giving very less interest rates. Now government has said this particular thing, that as two reasons are there. Reason number one, inflation is very much high. Now guys, see this thing, that whenever inflation is high, and if you have kept money in the bank, if you have kept money in your closet, that money's value is getting reduced. Why? Because the real value is getting down. So because of the inflation is high, the small saving instruments, the interest rate will be increased on them. And secondly, as the borrowing rates have been increased, in line of that also, the interest rates onto the small saving instruments will be going to be increased. Now guys, you don't need to go and see that which small saving, how much interest rate will be increased, all that thing, not at all important for our UPSC exam. If you're preparing for the bank exam, then you need to see, but for UPSC, not at all important. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Actually, when we talk about the small savings instrument, there are the 3 types of instruments that are there. Number one, there are the postal deposits. So into the post offices, there are the saving accounts, recurring accounts, time deposits. Fine, many of the monthly income schemes are there. Then there are the saving certificates that are there. In that we have the National Small Saving Certificate, Kisan Vikas Patra. Then the social security schemes are there. Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, where the girl, in the name of a girl child, an account can be opened which gives a higher interest rate. Public PPF account can be opened where you can put the money and an interest rate will be given. Senior Citizen Saving Scheme. So basically these are the three types of the small saving instruments that are given by the government. Now the idea behind these small saving instrument is to give avenue to the people so that they can mobilize their small savings, and at the same time they can earn interest on them. Now guys, actually all the money that come in these, it is collected into the National Small Saving Fund. And this National Small Saving Fund is used by the government for their developmental purposes. During the COVID-19 also, when the new money was not coming, revenue generation was very much less, this National Small Saving Fund was very much important for the government. It provided the support to the government during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic also. So on all these instruments, the interest rate is now going to be increased. How much increase? Okay, how much is the present rate of interest? Okay, all these things you don't need to see. That is all about this particular article. I hope guys that you have understood it, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you are liking it, and if you have liked it, please do leave your comment, please do hit the like button, okay? And in case if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe to our channel. And again I am saying this thing that please join the Telegram group. This entire PDF that I'm using here, it is available on the Telegram group free of cost. Please download it before reading the newspaper. I put it every day before I stream this video. So please make a habit, download this PDF, go to the Telegram, download the PDF, open this PDF in some mobile or some other tab, and along with the explanation, please see this PDF. It is going to further consolidate, it is going to save your time. You don't need to make notes then separately. From here only you can extract the notes. Fine. So that is all guys about today. I hope that everything is going good. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then guys, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.